Yes.
Okay, and my screen is visible to everybody, right?
Yes.
All right, so we'll wait for 11:35 and then we'll start the meeting. Let's allow few people to join. And,
Yes.
Moisha, just share the screen live stream link in the chat as well. So if somebody failed to register but wants to join, like any of the participants' friends want to join, they can share the link and then we will start the meeting for the YouTube live stream. Let's allow few people to join.
Yes.
All right, share the screen live stream link in the chat as well. So if somebody failed to register but wants to join, like any of the participants' friends want to join, they can share the link. Yes. And then we will start the meeting for the YouTube live stream. Let's allow few people. So until other participants join, I wanted to know that who all are today our participants, like what they are doing currently. So can you just write your names and what are you doing currently in the chat box? Anybody? Just want to know who all are joining today. You can share the link. For the YouTube live stream. So, like if you are a student, right, that I am a student, you wanted to know that I am currently pursuing this. Like what suppose you are a working profession, write your company name, write your names and anything about you in the chat box. Anybody? Just want to know who all are joining.
Yeah, so first of all, a very good morning to one and all present here for today's webinar. I, Khushi Parikh, on behalf of ECELL ADIT, welcome you all. Before we start this session, let me introduce our speaker Mr. Nishipal Rana, a young enthusiast who started studying stock at a very young age. He is an alumni of ADIT Institute of Technology, also a former ECELL member. He also has delivered many seminars on the topic of share marketing and investing in stocks and mutual funds. We are lucky enough to have him with us. We start this session, so without spending much more time, let's start the session. Now I would like to hand over this session to our speaker, Mr. Nishipal Rana. I would also like to welcome Nishipal Rana, who is the faculty coordinator of ECELL ADIT. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Khushi, for the introduction. And I guess now participants have joined. We will start the webinar. All right. So guys, before we begin, I want to make you understand that what we will be going through the presentation today and what we will be learning. So first, we will start with the basics of stock market. Like everybody has a question that what is a stock exchange? Right. One more thing before I go ahead. Which language is comfortable? English, Hindi? Any preferences from you all? Just write down in the chat box if you are comfortable with English. Yes. Just write down yes if you are comfortable with English, or do you want me to present in any other language like Hindi or Gujarati? I know these two other than English. All right, few yeses coming in. Anybody who wants another language, be frank, see, it's fine. The main aim here is to understand the thing, irrespective of what language we speak. All right, I see a couple of yeses here, and I think we are good to go with English language, right? Okay, cool. Right, so what we will understand today is what is a stock exchange. Then several of you have heard about Nifty 50 and Sensex. So what are these Sensex 30 or Nifty 50? In US, you would have heard about NASDAQ, Dow Jones. So what are these stock indices? Further, as we go ahead, we will understand that how do we trade? How do we buy shares in the stock exchange? Is it just as simple as opening an account, and then we will move further with what is trading, investing, mutual funds, some of the key fundamental analysis of the stock. Like, you know about a stock, but how do you do a technical analysis of the stock? And last but not the least, currently the trend which is going in the market, the scam 1992. So I have just consolidated the whole scam 1992 series into 2 slides. So it will be fun if you have seen the series, but were not able to understand that how Arshad Mehta executed the scam. So that will be the bonus for today, and that is the last thing we will go through. So I'll begin with the PPT. So NSE's headquarters is in Mumbai, BSE as well as the headquarters in Mumbai. Similarly, in US, we have NYSE, that is New York Stock Exchange. And there is another stock exchange in New York, that is NASDAQ. You must have heard several times when you are watching CNBC TV that there is NASDAQ and there is NYSE. So these are stock exchanges. Understand, stock exchanges are only there to facilitate the of SBI. SBI is listed on NSE and BSE, both stock exchanges. So if I want to buy a share, buy a stock of SBI, I would place an order via my broker. We will understand what is a stock broker in further slides. But consider this, that you don't buy the shares directly. You buy through a broker. So I place an order to my broker that I want to buy a share of SBI. Let's say I want to buy 10 shares of SBI. So my broker would then place my order at NSE. It will match that if I want to buy 10 stocks, is there somebody who wants to sell 10 stocks of SBI? If it is a yes, then my trade gets executed. And me, the buyer, and the seller meets and exchanges money, and the shares are credited to my account. Now, here we need to understand that as we have bank accounts for keeping cash, for keeping our money, similarly, for keeping our shares or stocks or anything like bonds, we have a demat account. Demat account is a full form basically for dematerialized accounts. So earlier in the 90s, we had physical share certificates. So if I wanted to buy a share from you, you would have to give me the certificate physically, hand it over to me, and I would hand over you the cash. But then after 2001, Demat account was inaugurated, where it is in physical, it is not now in physical form, it is in digital format. So it's easier for me to buy shares from anybody in India and get it credited into my demat account. These all things are done by the NSE and the broker itself. We don't need to do anything. We just place an order. If our order matches on the exchange, let's say I place an order for 10 stocks of SBI at a price of 120 rupees. And if there is somebody in the market all over India who wants to sell 10 stocks at the price of 120 rupees, my trade gets executed. This system is known as bilateral system. Bilateral in the sense that two people are involved. And if we agree on a price, we can execute the trade. So everybody clear with what is a stock exchange? Or should I explain it more? Just write it down in the chat. Just say yes if you have the concept of stock market clear. Stock exchange is just, consider it as just a shop where you buy and sell your shares, your government securities, which we call as bonds. Government securities are famously known as bonds. Okay, so many of you are writing yes. You are clear with what is a stock exchange. See, stock exchange is a basic thing. You would never deal with stock exchanges directly. It's just for information that there is an NSE, there is an BSE. Other than NSE and BSE, there are operational stock exchanges, 9 stock exchanges. But we don't trade on them because they are regional stock exchanges. Like Ahmedabad has its own stock exchange, Kolkata has its own stock exchange, Amritsar has a stock exchange. But certainly they are very small in scale and we don't trade usually retail investors. We are known as retail investors as an individual. We don't trade on these stock exchanges. Now comes the question, what is a stock index? When I was small, I always heard that today Nifty 50 skyrocketed, Sensex was up. Someday I would heard that Nifty 50 fall down, Sensex fall down. And I would always think that what is this Nifty 50? What is this Sensex? So if in a nutshell, if I want to explain you that what is Sensex or what is Nifty 50, in US you have Dow Jones. In US you have Dow Jones, then Nasdaq 100. In US you have S&P 500. So what are these things? These are stock index or stock indices. Now, what is a stock index or stock indices? In Bombay Stock Exchange alone, we have more than 2,000 companies listed. Now, let's say on a Monday, I sat at my PC and want to know that how is the market doing? Like, is the market in an optimistic mood? Optimistic mood means that people are buying or the market wants to sell, like they are in a pessimist mood. So, can I track 2,000 companies at one time, at one point of time? How can I track it? I cannot see that whether one particular company is going ahead, another company is moving below, the price is going down. And certainly it would be a tedious task daily if I want to know that whether the market is bullish or bearish. See, bullish is the term when the market goes up. And if you have seen the latest series, you would have understood that why it is known as bullish and bearish. Bullish because bulls, when they attack us, they attack from bottom to top. That is why the bullish market goes from bottom to top. And when bears, when they attack us from top to bottom. That is why their claws move from up to down. And that is why it is known as a bearish market. So that is how the bull represents moving upwards and the bear represents moving downwards. So stock index or stock index is a consolidated group of companies. So if a particular 50 companies, let's say Nifty 50 stands for National 50, that is that on a national stock exchange or NSE, the top 50 companies. If the top 50 companies average goes up, we say that the market moved up. So Nifty 50 is nothing but the top 50 companies on NSE listed, they have been merged into an index. So if the overall average, let's say there are 50 companies, 20 companies move ahead, 30 companies, the price goes down, but the average comes to be positive, then we would say that today the market moved upwards. If the average comes to that market will fall, then we would say that Nifty 50 fall on that day, that particular day. So that way you can easily track, okay, if market is moving upwards or if market is moving downward without analyzing all the stocks listed on the market. Because let's say 2000 stocks are there on BSE, more than 2000 stocks are there on BSE, you cannot track an individual stock daily. Similarly, on BSE, that is Bombay Stock Exchange, we have Sensex. Now, Sensex is a cumulative representation of top 30 companies there. Now, let's say on an average day, 20 companies, the price of 20 companies moves upwards and 10 companies moves downwards. And the average is upward sentiment, then we would say that Sensex moves forward. So that is why when you track Sensex, when you track Nifty 50, you understand, is market going upwards, is market positive, or it is moving, it is falling down, or it is in a negative sentiment. And just a fun fact that the term Sensex was coined by a stock market analyst, Deepak Mahoney, in 1989. So Sensex is a full form of sensitivity index. And see, understand this, that each exchange has its own indices. Nifty 50 and Sensex are famous, but there are other indices as well. But these two we have commonly heard all our lives, that Sensex moves upward, Nifty 50 was down today. So that is why these two are famous, but there are more than one index in the market. Similarly, international indices. Nasdaq is for Nasdaq Stock Exchange. So Nasdaq, it's a stock exchange too and a stock index both. So when I say Nasdaq is a stock exchange just like NSE, BSE in India, and NYSE, New York Stock Exchange in USA, and it is also Nasdaq 100, that is an index. So both the names are interchangeably used. Similarly, there is S&P 500. So S&P 500 is the top 500 companies listed on NYSE, and there is Dow Jones. Dow Jones is just for industrial companies. So Dow Jones is again an index for NYSE. Now we move ahead to the main thing, that is stock brokers. See, we cannot directly trade on an exchange. Although new rules are in a process where we would be able to, as an individual, directly trade on stock exchanges, and we don't need a broker to do that. But till that rule comes and is implemented, today the process is you open a demat account with a stock broker, and the stockbroker on behalf of you places orders for your trading on stock exchange. So there are two types of brokers in the market today. One is traditional broker, another is discount broker. Now see, what is the major difference between traditional brokers and discount brokers? Traditional brokers, they have brick and mortar stores. Brick and mortar stores, that means if you go in the market, you see their offices. They have a physical place where you can go and place your orders. And they have an online facility as well, but they have physical offices where you can go and have your formalities done. Similarly, in the market, there is a current trend that if we are technology savvy today, right? So we don't need to go someplace to register ourselves, to open our demat accounts. We need things online, we need things fast. So today, there are brokers who don't have any physical offices, just a head office in Delhi or in Mumbai, and they would do all the process online. These brokers are known as discount brokers. Now, what is the benefit of joining discount brokers? Joining discount brokers, you will have very low brokerage. Basically, a broker charges you stock brokerage when you trade, when you buy shares, when you sell shares. But this brokerage is, for traditional brokers, is very high. Let's take an example of Share Khan. So if we compare Share Khan with Zerodha provides around maximum brokerage of 20 rupees. So if you have a trade of 1 lakh rupees, or if you have a trade of 1 crore rupees, Zerodha would only charge you brokerage of 20 rupees, flat 20 rupees. And that is the beauty of discount brokers. You save a lot of money when you are going with discount brokers, but don't think that they have only advantages. There are certain disadvantages which we will discuss further. So Zerodha provides a flat 20 rupee brokerage, even if your amount of trading of shares, if you placed an order for 1 crore rupees, you will only pay a 20 rupee, flat 20 rupee brokerage. Similarly for share fund, it is variable. So if you place an order for 1 lakh rupee, you would have a handsome amount of money you would have to give to the share fund for brokerage. And if you are placing for crore, you understand, you calculate that there will be a very high price to pay for brokerage. But there is a benefit here for traditional brokers. That is, that they have multiple sources of providing you service. Let's say if you visit their office and place an order, they are happy to serve you. They are happy to clear your doubts. So certain people, they want a face-to-face interaction. They don't understand what online things run through, right? There are problems with online things that you cannot reach a person in case you have any doubt, any query. So these traditional brokers serve that purpose. They have offices, they would even come to your house to get a signature. Whereas in Zerodha, in Upstock, the discount brokers, you would have to sign it, you would have to print the forms and send it via courier. So that is where the convenience, if you are looking for convenience, if you are looking for a simplistic approach, then traditional brokers are fit for you. But understand this, that you would pay a hefty amount for that service. Because they have high operational cost, they are going to recover that high operational cost from you. IIFL, Marwadi, Kotak Securities, these are example of traditional brokers. They charge you higher prices, but provide you a face-to-face interaction. Now coming to discount brokers, Zerodha is the top broker in the discount brokerage segment, which has amazed a large amount of customers, young customers like us, who are ready to do things online, who are comfortable with using the technology. Upstock is another discount broker who is backed by Ratan Tata. So Upstock has an investment from Ratan Tata as well. Then angel broking. Angel broking, I would consider it both a mix of traditional brokerage and discount brokerage. Since it was earlier a traditional broker, but thinking and observing that the market is moving more towards discount brokerage, they have tweaked their services to provide you with a lower brokerage for online facilities. So hope you guys are clear with what is a stock broker. If yes, then please write yes in the chat box. That way I understand. If you have any questions, see, you cannot not unmute your mic, but you can at least ask in any questions if you have in the chat box. If it is a short question, we will answer it immediately. If it is long, we will take that question in Q&A. So feel free to ask questions, because I want it to be a two-way interaction, not a one-way interaction where I only speak and you only listen to it. Try and ask questions if you have any in the chat box. If it is a short question, something doubt you have. If it is a big question, you think that it will take time, let's take it to Q&A. Okay. So we were at stock brokerage. Now, coming to the market regulator. So Indian stock market or securities market is regulated by SEBI. Now, if anybody knows the full form of SEBI, write it down in the chat box. If somebody knows it. Anybody knows this full form of stock SEBI? Seems like nobody knows it. SEBI stands for Securities Exchange Board of India. Securities and Exchange Board of India. So see, market regulator SEBI was formed because understand this, that there are people who would deliberately do malpractices in the stock exchange, and they have a larger control over the stock market. So that way, individual investors like us should not face any problems. To address this, SEBI was formed in 1992. It was the regulatory body which regulates the securities market. It educates the investors like us by running campaigns, running ads, and making drives, Like there will be campaign drives by SEBI in metro cities where they would educate investors how can the frauds takes place, certain things like that. And it is an authority over all the companies listed on stock exchange to ask them for any information. So if any company wants to file for an IPO, like be listed on stock exchange, they have to take prior permission of SEBI. That we will see in when we are understanding IPO, that how does SEBI work, how does SEBI allow a company to list on stock exchange. So basically, SEBI is for our interest, investors' interest. There is no SEBI ensures that there is no fraud, no malpractices in the stock market, and at time to time finds and builds new rules to simplify the whole process of trading on stock exchange. Like there was a recent change in POA, that is power of attorney. We would not discuss much about it, but power of attorney was used by stockbrokers for us, the clients, to buy and sell our shares. So if he had signed a power of attorney, our stockbroker could sell our securities whenever it pleased him, because the POA said. But there were some frauds, the Carvey fraud, the famous one, where they had put the securities of their customers in bank and taken a loan against it, which were not theirs in the first place. So then SEBI did some tweaks in the POA rules and asked the individuals, the retail investors, that if they want, they cannot sign POA. It is not a compulsory thing now to sign a POA to our stockbrokers. All right, moving ahead, what are the stock market timings? This has always been a confusing thing for me when I started investing in stock market, understanding stock market, that what is the timing of stock market? Like some people would say that it's 9 to 3:30. Some would say that it opens at 9:30 and closes at 3:30. But if you want to understand this, understand that the Indian stock market timing is divided into 3 sessions. That is the very basic thing that will clear all your doubts. First is known as pre-opening session. That is from 9 a.m. to 9:15 a.m. Then there is a trading session, which is also known as a normal session, which most of us are aware about that what is a normal session. That is from 9:15 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And certain people have told me this. Certain people have asked me questions in the previous seminars. Is there any lunch break or something like that? But no, there is no such sort of thing here. And there is closing session, which is from 3:30 to 4 p.m. So in a nutshell, your stock market on a regular day starts at 9 a.m. and finishes at 4 p.m. You would understand what these different sessions denote. And stock exchanges work on Monday to Friday. Saturdays and Sundays are holiday, and public holidays are also considered. So the 3 sessions. The first is the pre-opening session. Pre-opening session starts at 9 a.m. It is 2 significant parts, and the third part is where you cannot make any trades. So the first session begins at 9 a.m. where you start placing orders. So from 9 a.m. to 8 a.m. you can place any orders, you can modify your orders. So modify your orders. Let's say I want to buy shares of Reliance, 10 shares. I place an order at 9:1. I want to buy it at a price of 1800. At 9:05, I change my mind and I say that no, I want to buy it at a price of 1850. I can modify my order up to 9:08. Once the clock strikes 9:08, we cannot modify our orders. From 9:08 to 9:15, our orders are matched. See, the pre-opening session is for the benefit of the market, because all the orders from the previous day, all the orders in this current 8 minutes are matched using the multi-order system to stabilize the market. And once at 9:15 the market opens, it turns into a normal trading session the bilateral order matching system is executed. Bilateral, I have already explained that if I want to buy 10 shares of SBI at 180 rupees, and if somebody in all over India wants to sell 10 shares of SBI at 180 rupees, we would have a match and our trades get executed. So bilateral is a system where two parties are involved and they trade between them. Condition is that both agree on the price and both agree on the quantity. I cannot say that I want to buy 10 shares at 180 rupees and the other guy on the side says that no, I will only share 9 shares at 180 rupees. That doesn't occur here. Bilateral order matching system executes the trade when both the parties agree on the quantity, both the parties agree on the price. But bilateral trading system is very volatile. Volatile is a word which you explains that there is large fluctuations. So the price fluctuation is very high. So that is why in the pre-opening session, multi-order system is used, whereas in normal session, bilateral trading session is used. From 9:15 to 15:30, that is 3:30, normal markets would run, normal markets would function. And then as we approach 3:30, from 3:30 to 3:40, the exchange calculates the closing price of the stock. So let's say SBI has all the trades executed, everything is finished at 3:30. The 10 minutes, that is from 3:30 to 3:40, the closing price of SBI will be calculated. Okay, from 3:40 to 4 p.m. If there are buyers and sellers in the market whose bids are confirmed, then they can buy and sell the stock at the closing price itself. So on the very next day, if the opening price is higher, they benefit from it. So if the closing price of SBI was 185 rupees, up from what, let's say it was in normal session 180 rupees, closing price was calculated at 185 rupees. Now, if a buyer and seller matches their bids, and if I buy at a price of 185 in the closing session, if tomorrow in the pre-opening session, the opening price of a stock reaches 190, I have a profit of 5 rupees for each stock. So in the post-closing session, we can place bids up to 4 p.m. And if our trades are executed, we buy at the price of closing, and the opening price does not affect our trade. So this is a good way of profiting if you know that on the very next day, the price of the stock is going to go up. Certain news is coming, results would be coming. Certain companies' results come after the stock exchange closes. So let's say our stock exchange closes at 4 p.m. and SBI announces the result at 6 p.m. Now, if you are optimistic that yes, SBI has performed well and the results will be good, it is an obvious thing that the next day the prices will skyrocket. It will move upwards. So you can place an order in the closing session and you will buy at the price of closing. And on the very next day, if you are lucky and the prices move upward, you will have a profit because the opening price will be higher than the closing price. This can be reversed as well. If you bought the share in the closing session at 185 rupees and on the very next day, the opening price was 179 rupees, you lose 6 rupees per share. So this is how the stock market timing functions. Now, one important thing here is, this is a very important thing. Consider this, that it is not just a one slide understanding of the concept of trading versus investing. It is how you will move ahead in your life as well. See, trading and investing are often interchangeably used, but they aren't same. Trading is a very different thing, investing is a very different thing. Although people would say that I trade in stock market, I invest in stock market, but they are different. Certain people have a notion that, when you buy shares, you call it trading. If you own shares, you call it investing, but that is not the case here. Trading is when you are buying and selling shares for a shorter period of time. You are basically using the momentum of the stock market to profit. And it is very, very risky. It is very high risk, thing to execute. because for trading you are always relying on companies' news, companies' financials, certain conspiracy theories. Like recent, there was a conspiracy theory that the Crompton Greaves company has has some accounting frauds in their books. Now, this is a speculation. You don't know, but there was a rumor, and the stock price of Crompton Greaves falls. Now, a trader would do is short the stock of Crompton Greaves, but it isn't a very safe bet because you never really know that are these rumors baseless or are these rumors confirmed. So trading is understand trading is very short time thing. It can range from a single day to 2 days to weeks or months. But you just rely on certain news, certain judgment of yours, rumors, and insider information to trade. Intraday trading basically means that if you trade your shares on an individual day, like if I buy shares on 9 a.m. and sell it before 3:30 or at 3:30 p.m., it is known as intraday trading, which many people do. And believe me, although people don't admit it, you will face more losses than you will earn profit in trading. Because trading for an individual investor like us, for retail investors like us, it's a very tough job to do. It is very time consuming because you have to be by your system all the time to understand, to analyze what are the prices going upwards, whether the prices are going downwards, what is the market sentiment. If you are following up on a news, you need to understand that will this news profit me. So certain things are involved. It's very time consuming and it has higher risk. Believe me, more sensible is investing. Now, how investing is different from trading? So, see, investing is when you build your wealth steadily over a time. You don't rely on news, you don't rely on rumors to analyze the company. You understand the future performance of the company. Think of the company in longer period of time, not just few months. Not just say कि let's say SBI का आज result आया and you are saying कि okay SBI का अच्छा result है this quarter. See, all companies have quarterly results. 4 results आते हैं financial results over a period of 1 year. So first quarter में if SBI gets a good result and you are like okay SBI मैं invest करूँगा, that sort of thing is trading for a shorter period of time. But if you see कि okay SBI का ये quarter में result अच्छा है, but all the past results, first quarter SBI performs good, और बाकी के 3 quarters में they don't perform good. And you need to understand that future of the company is not safe for investing. So doing fundamental analysis, we'll talk about few ratios and technical terms which are used in fundamental analysis in our next slide. But doing fundamental analysis is an important thing. Assuming that what the company will perform in next few years, not next few months, not next few days, that is speculation. That is trading. Investing is more of a you research about the company, you understand the company's basics, you understand their business, and then invest in it for a longer period of time. Say a year, 2 years, 5 years. Some people have invested in a particular stock and have left them for 20 years or so, and they have earned huge profits because they have taken a calculated risk. Trading isn't a calculated risk. So I always believe that if you are starting, try trading to understand the stock market. But to build your wealth, to earn money from stock market, always rely on investing. That is the golden rule. And people who have been successful in stock market, they have always focused on investing, not trading. If we have some time in the Q&A session, I will share a story of Warren Buffett and an hedge fund manager, which will make you very clear on whether you should rely on trading or investing. Just remind me if you have a time in Q&A, just write in the chat box that we'll see the story, how it is. Now, very important thing, IPOs. IPOs, people have, just one notion कि बस IPO भरना है, and if IPO लग जाएगा we will have a profit. Is it so? Let's understand what is IPO. So see, basically IPO is initial public offering. Initial public offering is that when a company is listed on the stock exchange for the very first time. Jab any company wants to list itself on the stock exchange, they prepare a big document which is known as DRHP, Draft Red Herring Prospectus. DRHP में सब information होगा, कंपनी के ऑफिसेस, कंपनी का फाइनेंशियल, कंपनी के ऊपर चल रहे लीगल केसेस, कंपनी के प्रोडक्ट्स, कंपनी का बिजनेस क्या है, what are the number of employees, all the information. Understand that if you are reading DRHP, you know everything about the company. This DRHP, once it is ready, and there are book building agents as well in the market. So book building agents help these companies, private companies, to get listed on the stock exchange. So basic जो formalities होती है, they clear these formalities. So DRHP, once it is ready, it is sent to SEBI. Then SEBI officer analyzes the whole DRHP, checks whether the company has submitted the right things or not, whether the financials are okay, whether it is audited or not, then sees if it is a very high risk company or a low risk company. So once a SEBI officer thinks that okay, this company is good to go ahead, it can be listed on the stock exchange, they allow a company to file for the RHP, that is Red Herring Prospectus. This one is a draft. The draft is sent to SEBI. Once it gets approved, and there is an RHP, and once the SEBI has shown us a company the green light, they are ready to move ahead. Then comes the IPO issue date. Right? So what is an IPO issue date? So IPO date, let's say I have taken the example of Root Mobile. Root Mobile recently had an IPO in the month of September. So this was the latest IPO and many people have heard of it. So I have taken an example. So first, Root Mobile has, if you can see on the screen, filed DRHP with SEBI. Once SEBI has shown a green light, once it had an approval, it started its listing process. So how does this go? So there is an IPO date fixed for each company. So for Root Mobile, it was September 9 to September 11. So if you want to buy the shares, if you want to file the IPO of Root Mobile, you do it between 9 September and 11 September. Then there is an issue type. Book build issue is when there are two ranges. So if you can see here in the IPO price, there is a price range that is 345 to 350. So you can place an order at any price, 345, 346, up to 350. This 350 is the upper band, 345 is the lower price band. So if you have a price band, these type of IPOs are known as book build issues. And if you have a fixed price IPO, then here the issue type would have been fixed price issue IPO. Now here you can see that there is an issue size. Issue size means that Root Mobile is going to sell their shares, that is 1,73,91,303 shares. So they will be selling or listing 1,73 lakh shares on the stock exchange. The total value of all these shares is 600 crores. So ultimately, when you file for the IPO, you are owning the company. आप लोग कंपनी को खरीदते हैं, a particular part of the company. If you are buying 10 shares, you have that percent of ownership. If you are buying 100, if you are buying 200 shares, then you have that percent of ownership of the company. So total value of listing of these shares, this accounts to 600 crores. So once अगर हम ऐसा बोलते हैं कि कंपनी का IPO fully subscribed था, that means this company is getting 600 crore rupees from us, the retail investors, and against that, company is providing us the shares of that company. So we are basically the owner. जब हम ऐसा बोलते हैं कि I have shares of HDFC, I have shares of SBI, understand this that you are a part owner of the company. But उसका ratio बहुत कम होगा. If you have more shares, you have a higher stake of ownership. If you have, but you are owner of the company. So if company profits, that is why you profit. If the company faces a loss, you face a loss. So understand that when you buy a share, you become an owner of the company. So the aggregated amount was 600 crores. So when we say that the IPO is fully subscribed, 600 crores are transferred to company's account, and the company transfers the 1 crore 73 lakh shares to the retail investors account. Okay. Now you can see here there are two things: fresh issue and offer for sale. So fresh issue is company creates new shares. So 240 crores, the company for 240 crores, the company created new shares. That is, shares can be created out of thin air. Companies can create shares. This will just dilute the stake of ownership in the company, overall stake of ownership. And then there is an offer for sale. So offer for sale is when existing shares are traded. But let's say when a company was formed, two people created a company ABC और दोनों का ओनरशिप 50-50% है. अब वो लोग डिसाइड करते हैं कि हमें कितने शेयर्स रखने हैं. तो ए एंड बी डिसाइडेड कि एबीसी कंपनी के हम लोग 100 शेयर्स रखें. सो क्योंकि 50-50 ओनरशिप है तो एक आदमी को 50 शेयर्स मिले, सेकंड पर्सन को 50 शेयर्स मिले. तो जो आदमी 50 शेयर्स ओन करता है उसके पास 50% की ओनरशिप है, जो आदमी दूसरे 50 ओन करता है उसके पास 50% की ओनरशिप है. एक थर्ड पर्सन आता है सी, जो ए से 20 शेयर्स खरीद लेता है. तो नाउ दिस थिंग चेंजेस इनटू व्हाट? सी ओन्स 20%, ए ओन्स नाउ ओनली 30%. क्यों? बिकॉज उसने अपने 20 शेयर्स जो है वो सी को बेच दिए. सो नाउ उसकी ओनरशिप कंपनी में 30% है और जो बी है उसकी ओनरशिप 50% है. तो टोटल कंपनी के शेयर्स कितने हुए? 100. अब ऑफर फॉर सेल में क्या होता है कि बेसिकली जब ए ने अपने 20 शेयर सी को बेचे तो वो ऑफर फॉर सेल था. मतलब उसने कोई नए शेयर्स क्रिएट नहीं किए, जो एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर्स थे वो ट्रेड किए. बेसिकली वो 20 जो शेयर्स सी को गए उसके पैसे ए ने खुद ले लिए, ना कंपनी को दिए. दैट इज ऑफर फॉर सेल. और फ्रेश इश्यू क्या होता है कि उनके पास टोटल 100 शेयर्स थे और उन लोगों ने खुद की स्टेक्स डाइल्यूट करके नए शेयर इश्यू किए. दैट इज अनदर 20 उन लोगों ने इश्यू की और सी को बेचे. तो नया कैपिटल उन लोगों ने इन्फ्यूज किया कंपनी के अंदर. सो सेम वे रूट मोबाइल ने 240 करोड़ के नए शेयर इश्यू किए और जो एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर थे जो प्रमोटर्स के पास थे. प्रमोटर्स आर बेसिकली मेजॉरिटी स्टेक होल्डर्स ऑफ अ कंपनी. समटाइम्स दे आर सीईओज एंड समटाइम्स दे आर फाउंडर्स, बट प्रमोटर्स मींस मेजर स्टेक होल्डर्स ऑफ द कंपनी. सो प्रमोटर्स के पास जो 360 करोड़ के शेयर थे वो उन लोगों ने आईपीओ में सेल कर. सो दैट में उनका टोटल जो है वो बना 600 crores. Now face value क्या है? Face value basically is nothing but a book value. So books पे we have to write down कि भाई एक particular share की price books पे क्या होगी. So that is 10 rupees. But in reality it is more than that. Right? But then this is just for accounting terms. Always if you see any company उनके face value fix ही होगा 10 rupees per equity share. Even if you take Reliance उनका 10 रुपये होगा. So this is just an accounting term, not much of an importance to us. IPO प्राइस मैंने ऑलरेडी एक्सप्लेन किया कि लोअर प्राइस बैंड होता है और अपर प्राइस बैंड होता है और आप इसमें से कोई भी प्राइस पे शेयर खरीद सकते हैं. नाउ देयर इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग कि मार्केट लॉट है. सो ऑलवेज अंडरस्टैंड कि IPOs में ऐसा होता है कि यू हैव टू बाय इंडिविजुअल लॉट्स. सो एक लॉट अगर 40 शेयर्स का फिक्स है तो अगर मुझे IPO फाइल करना है तो मुझे उस लॉट के मल्टीपल्स में लेना पड़ेगा. यानी या तो मैं 40 शेयर्स ले सकता हूँ या तो फिर मैं 80 ले सकता हूँ या फिर मैं 120, मतलब मल्टीपल्स ऑफ द लॉट. तो मार्केट लॉट का मिनिमम ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी सेम होता है बेसिकली. मतलब मुझे मिनिमम एक लॉट तो लेना ही पड़ेगा. आई कैन नॉट से कि मैं 40 शेयर्स लूंगा फिर उसके बाद 20 शेयर्स लूंगा. नहीं, यू हैव टू बाय इन द मल्टीपल्स ऑफ मार्केट लॉट. यानी कि 42 into 40 यानी 80, 3 into 40 यानी 120 and so on and so on. लिस्टिंग दो स्टॉक एक्सचेंजेस पे रूट मोबाइल की गई है. दैट इज व्हाट इज शोन हियर. दैट इज BSE और NSE. सो दोनों पे यू कैन ट्रेड द रूट मोबाइल. नाउ हियर दिस इज द डेट्स. दैट इज बिड ओपन डेट, मतलब व्हेन यू कैन स्टार्ट फाइलिंग फॉर द IPO. तो September 9 को ओपन हुआ, क्लोज हुआ September 11 को. Now, if you are Reliance, many people apply for the IPO, but not this is just an accounting. So अगर ऐसा होता है, not much of an import. There are 1 crore 70 IPO price. और उनके पास बिड्स आ गई है 2 करोड़ शेयर्स की, तो then there is a system called draw. So just जैसे लकी ड्रॉ होता है, similarly for these random allotment process happens. तो सबसे पहले कंपनी जैसा ट्राई करती है कि हाईएस्ट आईपीओ प्राइस है यानी कि 350, इसके ऊपर अलॉटमेंट किया जाए। मतलब पहले वो लोग प्रेफरेंस देते हैं शेयर प्राइस को, तो ऑब्वियस सी बात है, अगर किसी ने बिड प्लेस की है 40 शेयर्स की 345 पे और किसी ने बिड प्लेस की है 40 शेयर्स की 350, तो कंपनी वही बिड को चूज करेगी जिसकी हायर वैल्यू है। मतलब उनको 350 मिल रहा है 40 शेयर्स पर प्राइस के लिए, दिस इज पर प्राइस, मतलब पर एक शेयर के 350 है, और ऐसा मिनिमम मार्केट लॉट 40 का है, तो मल्टीप्लाई 350 इंटू 40, वो आपका मिनिमम बिड होगा, मिनिमम अमाउंट होगा कि जिसके लिए आप आईपीओ फाइल करेंगे। सो पहले प्रेफरेंस मिलता है प्राइस रेंज को, मतलब 350 हाईएस्ट प्राइस रेंज को। उसके बाद भी अगर क्वांटिटी बढ़ जाती है, मतलब फाइल किए हुए सब्सक्राइब किए हुए आईपीओ की क्वांटिटी ज्यादा है, देन देयर इज अ लकी ड्रॉ, एंड दैट इज हाउ द शेयर्स आर अलॉटेड. So finalization of business allotment happened on 16th of September. फिर if you are not getting the IPO, तो आपने जो पैसे भरे that is refunded to you by 17th. And then there is a demat account जो मैंने explain किया कि you have a demat account where you keep the shares, that is credited to you by 18th of September. So this is how this IPO works. Now another thing is in IPOs, see, for root mobiles there is the financials given. So 30 जून, मतलब 30 जून को जो क्वार्टर एंड हुआ उस टाइम पे रूट मोबाइल के पास टोटल असेट्स थे 6,348 मिलियन रुपीस, टोटल रेवेन्यू उनका था 3,122 मिलियन रुपीस, और उनका प्रॉफिट है। सो यहाँ पे आप लोग एक पैटर्न देख सकते हैं कि 2020 में उनका प्रॉफिट यहाँ पे कम हो गया, लाइक मार्च 2018 उनका प्रॉफिट 466 करोड़ था, 31 मार्च का जो क्वार्टर एंड हुआ उसमें उनका प्रॉफिट 545 करोड़, 31 मार्च को जो क्वार्टर एंड हुआ दैट इज फाइनेंशियल ईयर उसमें 690 का था, और 30 जून को जो क्वार्टर एंड हुआ उसमें 269 करोड़ था। सो दिस इज हाउ यू कैन सी कि फाइनेंशियल कंपनी ये क्या है, whether the company is profitable, whether it is no. So this is how you can know whether the company is profitable or not. One other thing is the investor category. So we as an individual are retail individual investors or RII. हम लोग खाली रूट मोबाइल के आईपीओ में 35% सब्सक्राइब ही कर सकते हैं। फिर होते हैं नॉन इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टर्स जिसे हम बोलते हैं HNIs, हाई नेटवर्थ इंडिविजुअल्स। HNIs इन्वेस्टर्स रहते थे 15% या 90 करोड़, और QIB स्टैंड फॉर क्वालिफाइड इंस्टीट्यूशनल बायर्स। इंस्टीट्यूशनल बायर्स मतलब म्यूचुअल फंड्स, इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज, बड़े स्टॉक एक्सचेंज, स्टॉक ब्रोकर्स, some big hedge fund managers. When they invest, QIBs, they are known as QIBs or qualified institutional buyers. इनके पास majority buying power होता है 50%. This is different for all the different IPOs. Change होता है, but you need to understand कि we are RRIs, retail individual investors. Similarly, QIB institutional होते हैं, जैसे banks हो गया, insurance companies हो गई, mutual funds हो गए. These all are QIBs. कोई foreign company है जो FDI इन्वेस्टमेंट करती है, फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट, तो ये सब आएगा कैटेगरी QIB में। Now comes an important thing, mutual fund. What are mutual funds? What is an SIP and what is lump sum? Before we move ahead with SIP and lump sum, mutual fund basically क्या है कि on an individual day, if you as an investor wants to invest in multiple companies, not one company. And that is a good thing because when you invest in one company, you rely on one company for all your money. So अगर मैं Reliance में मेरा पूरा savings invest कर देता हूँ, someday next day ऐसा निकलता है कि Reliance falls, तो I have lost all my wealth, which is not the right thing to do in the first place. You should put all your eggs in different baskets. That is the rule. if you want to be a profitable person, if you want to earn from stock exchange. So what does mutual fund do? वो लोग ग्रुप कर देते हैं कंपनीज को and give you one fund. When you invest in that fund, तो ऑटोमेटिकली वो फंड फिर आपके पैसे को डिफरेंट कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट करता है. लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल. जैसे फंड है HDFC टॉप 100 फंड. HDFC टॉप 100 फंड क्या करता है कि आपके दिए हुए पैसे, अगर सर जैसे आपने 500 रुपीज दिए, आपने 1000 दिए, आपने 1 लाख रुपए दिए, तो आपके दिए हुए पैसे को अब 100 कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट करेगा. सो ऑटोमेटिकली यू डोंट हैव टू डू एनीथिंग, दे डू इट फॉर यू. और उसके बिहाफ पे वो लोग आपसे एक चार्ज देते हैं. दैट इज नोन एज पी. सो बेसिकली एक्सपेंस रेशियो जो हम बोलते हैं कि एक्सपेंस रेशियो वो होता है कि म्यूचुअल फंड कंपनी लेट्स से आपने 100 रुपीज अर्न किए, वो आपसे एक परसेंटेज देता है व्हिच इज वेरी लो. 2% or 3% of your profits are annually taken from you. Mutual funds में भी दो टाइप होती है, डायरेक्ट फंड्स एंड रेगुलर फंड्स. एडवाइस कि आप डायरेक्ट फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट करें बिकॉज रेगुलर फंड्स आर सेम ही फंड्स होते हैं. एक में आप ब्रोकर के थ्रू इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, एक में आप डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्ट करते हैं. सो डिस्काउंट ब्रोकर्स जो मैं बोल रहा था, जीरोधा है, अपस्टॉक है, दे प्रोवाइड टू डायरेक्ट म्यूचुअल फंड्स. You save on that money. Funds सेम होते हैं, but understand, let's say HDFC top 100 fund, तो दो टाइप के फंड्स होंगे. HDFC top 100 रेगुलर फंड, HDFC top 100 डायरेक्ट फंड. डायरेक्ट फंड में यू हैव लेस अमाउंट ऑफ एक्सपेंस रेशियो, मतलब आपकी कमीशन कम है, और रेगुलर फंड में कमीशन हायर है बिकॉज वो वाया एक ब्रोकर मिल रहा है, तो ब्रोकर उसमें अपना प्रॉफिट रख के आपको देता है, आपको सेल करता है वो फंड. So basically, try and always invest in direct mutual funds. They are one and the same thing. Trust me. When I say HDFC top 100 regular, direct, they have the same fund manager. Their strategy is same. The difference is only about investing via a broker and not investing via a broker. So always go with direct funds. Now, what is SIP and what is lump sum? Lump sum means एक ही बार में ऑर्डर प्लेस करते हो, यू इन्वेस्ट वन टाइम. लेट्स से आज मेरे पास 5000 रुपीज है, 6000 ले लेते हैं, 6000 रुपीज है, मैं आज ही HDFC टॉप 100 फंड में इन्वेस्ट कर देता हूँ. दैट इज अ लम्प सम इन्वेस्टमेंट. अदरवाइज मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ, मैं वो 6000 रुपीज को एवरी मंथ 500 रुपीज के फॉर्म में इन्वेस्ट करता हूँ फॉर अ ईयर. तो क्या होगा, जनवरी में मैंने 500 रुपीज दिए, फरवरी में 500, सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. That is known as SIP or systematic investment plan. Now SIP का advantage क्या है कि SIP works always better if there is a volatility in the market. मतलब अगर markets constantly up and down हो रहे हैं तो SIP is a good thing because there is a concept called rupee cost averaging. What is rupee cost averaging? लेट्स से कि हर एक फंड जो मैंने बोला, जैसे HDFC टॉप 100 फंड है, उनकी फंड ऑफर की प्राइस होती है, मतलब एक इंडिविजुअल यूनिट की प्राइस है. तो अगर HDFC टॉप 100 की फंड की प्राइस 100 रुपीज है एक यूनिट की, तो जब मैं 6000 लम्प सम में इन्वेस्ट किए जनवरी में, तो मुझे कितने यूनिट्स मिलेंगे, 60 यूनिट्स. ठीक है. नाउ आई गेट एक यूनिट एट अ प्राइस ऑफ 100 रुपीज, 60 यूनिट्स मेरे पास है. नाउ कम्स टू SIP. जनवरी में एक यूनिट की प्राइस 100 थी और मैंने लिए 500 की, मतलब बिकॉज आई एम इन्वेस्टिंग एवरी मंथ 500 रुपीज, तो मुझे 500 के 5 यूनिट है. फरवरी में वही फंड की प्राइस हो गई 110 रुपीज, तो मैंने फिर भी 500 इन्वेस्ट किए, तो मुझे इस बार 5 से कम आएंगे 4 पॉइंट समथिंग. अब मेरा टोटल काउंट क्या हो जाएगा, 9 पॉइंट समथिंग, मतलब 9 यूनिट्स हैं मेरे पास. लम्प सम में मुझे एक साथ 60 मिल गए थे, इसमें मुझे अभी फिलहाल 9 मिले. नेक्स्ट मार्च में मार्केट ड्रॉप हो गया, मार्केट गिर गया, और जो यूनिट थी उसकी प्राइस हो गई है अभी 90 रुपीज. तो इस बार जब मैं 500 रुपीज मार्च में इन्वेस्ट करूंगा तो मुझे 5 से थोड़ा ज्यादा यूनिट्स मिल जाएंगे, यानी समथिंग 5.7 5.8 के आसपास यूनिट्स आएंगे मेरे. तो ओवरऑल में जो मेरा मार्केट यूनिट्स का जो कैलकुलेशन होगा वो स्लाइटली 15 के आसपास होगा. 15 या तो ऊपर होगा या 15 से थोड़ा नीचे होगा. ऐसा मैं 12 मंथ्स तक करूंगा. यू विल नोटिस कि मुझे 12 मंथ्स एंड में 60 यूनिट से ज्यादा ही मिले होंगे. अगर मैं 6,000 ऐसा January में, I get only 60 units, which is fixed. But if I invest 500 rupees every month, so there is a probability, there is a chance I can get more than 60 units when I invest from SEBI. Another advantage is you are not giving your whole money at one point of time. If you don't have 6,000 today, but you have 500 today, you can give it. And later on, next month you give 500 rupees. Later on, next month you give 500 rupees. So this is convenient investing. Another thing is you can easily cancel your SIPs anytime. So let's say after 8 months you don't have money. You can cancel your SIP for that particular month, continue the next month. This is how it is very convenient. Plus, अगर आप एक डिसिप्लिन इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, स्टार्ट विद SIPs. If you are 18, if you have a PAN card, open your demat account. Just invest 500 rupees, 100 rupees. You can now invest minimum 100 rupees as well. So just invest 100 rupees. With any fund. Discipline you will make when you are old enough. You go with your job, when you go with your business after finishing your studies, or if you are a working professional, you should start early investing. That's what. Start with 100 rupees, start with 200 rupees, start with 500 rupees, whatever you think you have. But start. Once you have discipline, you will definitely go a long way in your life. Because compounding works in a marvelous manner. Albert Einstein has quoted this, that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. We have 7 wonders of the world. And Albert Einstein once quoted that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world because you get interest on this, and that is the benefit of investing via SIP mutual funds. I don't say a lump sum is a bad thing, but SIPs are more convenient and it is a good way of building a discipline, building that responsibility in your investing. Now coming to types of mutual funds. Types of mutual fund schemes, basically there are types segregate on the functionality of the mutual fund. So there are schemes that are known as open-ended funds, close-ended funds, and interval funds. Open-ended funds means you can invest at any point of time. मतलब मेरी आज इच्छा होती है कि 500 आज इन्वेस्ट किया, 2 साल बाद फिर से 500 इन्वेस्ट किया, मुझे ऐसा नहीं होगा कि पर्टिकुलर डेट पे इन्वेस्ट करना. That is an open-ended fund. Most of the funds are open-ended. Certain funds are closed-ended. Closed-ended funds में mutual fund when they decide which date they will open the fund and then they will invest in it. So let's say कि कोई closed-ended fund है तो जनवरी में ओपन होता है, इन्वेस्टमेंट लेता है, and that closes for 2 years. These type of funds are closed-ended funds. There are interval funds. Interval funds में क्या होता है कि that particular fixed time कि ये point of time पे fund open होगा, we will start investing, people can invest for a particular time and then it closes. Again after a particular interval you again open for a fresh funds, investment gather करके फिर वो close हो जाएगा. Generally all the schemes in market are open-ended in nature. Few closed-ended funds are available in the market. You will find very rarely interval funds. Now portfolio management. See, active funds and passive funds. Active funds and passive funds are only for ETFs. ETFs is a very good thing if you do investing. If you don't know where to invest in the mutual fund segment, ETF basically क्या है कि जैसे हमने बात की थी कि निफ्टी 50 है, जैसे हमने बात की सेंसेक्स 30 है, तो निफ्टी 50 की जो 50 कंपनीज है उसमें अगर मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहा हूँ तो दैट इज एन पैसिव फंड. वो निफ्टी 50 इंडेक्स पे डिपेंडेंट है. अगर आज निफ्टी 50 ग्रो करेगा तो मेरा फंड भी ग्रो करेगा, आज निफ्टी 50 ड्रॉप होगा तो मेरा फंड भी ड्रॉप होगा. तो वो उसको टोटली रेप्लिकेट करता है. निफ्टी 50 के 50 स्टॉक्स को this one replicates. These funds are known as ETF, exchange traded funds. And then there is passive fund is very cheap. Why is cheap? Because उसमें fund manager doesn't have to be innovative. It only has to track a particular index. अगर बोलता हूँ कि I'm investing in Nifty 50 fund, I only have to track 50 companies. From where I track 50 companies में invest किया, and then it will give the returns. Whereas in active fund, active funds are other funds, and there is sector funds, या फिर हो गए mid cap, large cap funds, जिसमें fund manager needs to work, needs to research कि कौन सा मैं stock ढूंढ के लेके आऊँ, which will be beneficial to my investors. But passive funds have shown in the past previous years that on an average their return is very stable. मतलब at least वो लोग 8% 9% per annum का return देते हैं, and if you compound it like compound annual growth rate, then it will turn out to be more than 12 to 13%. So the growth funds, income funds, balance fund. Growth funds वो है where you invest aggressively in the growth of a company. So जैसे HDFC mid cap opportunities fund है, that is a growth fund. Mid cap मतलब mid cap stocks में invest करता है, and it just relies on the growth of the company. And there are income funds. Income funds basically safe funds होता है, that they invest in debt. So okay, there are two types of funds again on the portfolio basis. That is equity fund, debt fund. So debt is when you loan your money to somebody, which is considered to be very safe in stock market. Understand this. Debt funds are considered to be safe compared to equity funds. Because in equity funds, you invest in a company. In debt funds, you loan your money to the company, and the company promises you that after a particular 5 years, I will pay the money with interest. So debt funds are comparatively safer, less riskier than equity funds. So income funds में क्या होता है? There is more of a part of debt and less part of equity. And then there are balance funds. So balance funds क्या करते हैं कि जब market is going high, they will invest in equity aggressively और debt ratio कम रखेंगे. The markets are going low or there is a recession, they will increase their debt size और equity funds कम कर देंगे. So that is how they balance it, and that is why they are known as balance funds. Think of it. If you have any questions, I also share my email ID or contact number, and you can drop if you want to understand it in detail. Because these things you cannot understand just once. In one sitting, it is very hard to apprehend all this information in your mind because they are somewhat complex instruments. But once you understand them, once you are thorough with it, very easy, it is very simple, and you will know that yes, whether I want to invest here or whether I want to invest here. And there is a huge variety of funds to confuse people and provide more opportunities for investment. But trust me, these funds confuse you more than they provide you convenience. Then there are hybrid funds. Hybrid funds are a mixture of equity and debt funds. Hybrid funds would be a mixture of equity fund and debt fund. Equity is when you invest in the ownership of the company. Debt is when you loan the money. Certain other types of funds are there. That is gold exchange traded funds. Gold ETFs. Several people would have heard about yield funds. Yield funds are nothing but traded on gold price. So basically, understand this: that if the gold price move upwards, yield funds move upward. If the gold price falls down, yield funds, the prices of yield funds falls down. Then there are arbitrage funds. Arbitrage funds are when there is a trading between cash and derivatives market. If we have time, we will understand what is derivatives, and then you will understand better how these arbitrage funds will work. Then there is international funds. See, again, this is a very important thing. International funds are very nice opportunity for you to invest overseas. So being India, if you want to invest in Japan, if you want to invest in US, if you want to invest in China, you can do this with international funds. You don't need to open accounts in US, you don't need to open accounts in Japan, you don't need to open accounts in China. You just open an account in India, you can invest in international funds. Now, how is this helpful? As an individual, I know that Google is a good company. I know Netflix is a good company. I know Facebook is a good company. They are all profitable, they are huge, and I want to invest in them. But I don't have enough money to invest directly in these companies. If you see the price of these companies, they are in thousands of dollars. And considering that, let's say if I am able to buy just one share of something, it is not much of a profitable prospect for me to open an account in US and then comply with their tax laws. So, in order to solve this, there are certain international funds as well in the market. These are majorly provided by Reliance. Reliance today is now renamed as Nippon India Asset Management Fund. So, earlier it was the Reliance Capital Fund. Now, since Nippon India has acquired Reliance, you will find the names like Nippon India top 100 US. Now, what does it do? It invests in top 100 companies in the West. That is Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix. So, you have a chunk of ownership in your portfolio. And then there is a China fund. We invest in the top companies of China. It is the Alibaba Group. Then there is the Asian Development Bank (ADB). These are the top companies in China. Then there is Tencent. So these companies, they have a fund, international fund, which are provided by the Indian brokers, and you can easily invest in them. If you want to be an owner of a Chinese company, it is an indirect route, but ultimately you are gaining from the market of foreign, places, foreign markets. But consider this: when you invest in international funds, there are two things that need to be taken care of. One is when you invest in an US market, understand this: if the market in the US moves upward, your fund prices will move upward, you will make a profit. If it goes otherwise, you will face a loss. Okay. Second is, let's say the dollar price compared to INR, that is Indian rupee, increase, you will get less profits. Why is it so? Let's say if I have an SEBI of 500 rupees monthly investing in US, the very first month, that is in January, if the price was 70 rupees, I get units according to the price of dollar equal to 70 rupees. In the second month, I am keeping the SIP constant 500 rupees. But our price is 75 rupees. So what will happen? Due to this increase in the price, we get some units मिलेंगे वो fund के. Or the third month में the price climbs to 80 rupees, I'll get even less units compared to January and February. इसका बेनिफिट दूसरा क्या है कि लेट्स से मैंने इन्वेस्ट किए तो 1 लाख रुपीस जनवरी में, और खाली फरवरी आते डॉलर की हो गई है 80 रुपीस, तो मुझे सीधा प्रॉफिट वहां से 10 रुपए का बच जाएगा इन माई होल पोर्टफोलियो. मतलब मेरा जो 1 लाख रुपीस इन्वेस्टेड है उसकी वैल्यू करंट के हिसाब से भी इंक्रीज हुई है और मार्केट हिसाब से भी इंक्रीज हुई है. सो इट्स अ टू स्ट्रीट. If prices are high, you lose some money. But if you have bought early when prices are low, or if the price is high or then you earn the money. Similarly, so this is a good thing. Understand the concept of international funds. If you have any doubts, please ask. So these are very good if you want to, get a piece of cake in the international market, because it's very hard to invest in different countries as an individual investor. These funds are very nice. These funds can help you get ownership in companies like Apple and Amazon. That is a very good thing. Then there is ELS. ELS is just a type of fund which will help you tax. So currently, I don't think so there is anybody here in the seminar or the webinar who wants to save tax. It is for patent holders who wants to save tax, but these ELSs have a lock-in period of 3 years. So once you invest in an ELSs, you cannot redeem your money up to 3 years. So that is why they have a lock-in period, because they are providing a tax benefit. These funds invest in equity market again, but they have a lock-in period, but they are tax benefit. Now coming to some important technical items, but before we move ahead, I want to know in the chat box whether you are finding it interesting or not. Just write yes or no. If you have any confusions, if you feel that there should be some two-way interaction, or you want a Q&A in between, please write in the chat box so I can understand. Is it getting boring or not? I understand the concepts thoroughly. Yes, anybody? Are you all good? It seems that you people are not there. I'm audible. All right. So now some important technical terms should be covered. These are very important when you do fundamental analysis of the stock market. So what is fundamental analysis? When we were going through the trading and investing slide, saw that what is fundamental analysis we do when we are investing. Then there are a few terms involved, few technical terms and ratios involved. So we'll go through it first. All right. So how and this is already discussed because shareholders, they are retail investors, with the individuals like us, and there are institutional investors, and then are insiders. Insiders basically means promoters. Any company has an ownership which ranges from retail investor, individual institutional investor, and then there are insiders or promoters who hold the shares in their demat accounts. Market capitalization. You may have often heard that there are small cap companies, mid cap companies, large cap companies. What are these companies? So basically, any small cap company is when you have a market capitalization of below 5,000 crores. So अगर आपकी कंपनी की वैल्यू जो है, how the value is calculated? So the market price of a share multiplied by number of outstanding shares. So अगर एक कंपनी की outstanding shares मतलब उसके total shares मार्केट में 1 लाख है और मार्केट शेयर मतलब एक शेयर प्राइस 10 रुपीज है, सो उसका टोटल मार्केट कैपिटलाइजेशन होगा 10 लाख रुपीज. अब इफ इट इज लेस देन 5,000 crores तो स्मॉल कैप कंपनी तो कैपिटलाइजेशन मार्केट का वही 5,500 crores है, so that it will be a mid cap company. If it is more than 1 lakh crore, it is a large cap. Reliance, ECELL, these are large companies. Then there are small cap companies which you have not heard of names. They are also known as penny stocks. And mostly penny stocks you should avoid investing in and trading in them. Then mid cap companies. Mid cap companies like Tata Motors or Amar Raja Batteries. These kind of companies, whose market capitalization is less than 1 lakh crore. These companies are mid cap companies. So if you want to understand all these about a company, you can download the Money Control app. You can find all this information. So market capitalization, you will find on this Money Control app. So currently, this is an example of SBI, but what is the year? This is of 11 January 2018. So it is an old slide. At that point of time, market capitalization of SBI was 2,60,000 crore, which is more than 1 lakh crore. So SBI is a large cap company. So at that point of time, the market capitalization of SBI was 2,60,080 crores, and share price was 302, which is far higher than it is today. The price ranges around. The last time I checked, it was below 200 rupees. So that is the difference in the price. In 2018, price of one SBI share 302 rupees. Now, financial statement of the company consists of balance sheet, profit and loss statement, which is known as P&L, and cash flow statements. Basically, दो टाइप statements होते हैं, एक consolidated and तो अगर SBI की बहुत सारी कंपनीज हैं, सब्सिडियरीज जो होते हैं या जॉइंट वेंचर्स हैं, अगर उन सब का बैलेंस शीट एक साथ हमको देखता है, तो हम उसको बोलते हैं consolidated, merged. और अगर SBI का इंडिविजुअल खाली SBI बैंक का दिखता है, so that is a standalone statement. Standalone statement only parent company जाएगा, not of its subsidiary, not of the joint ventures, not of its associate. Example के लिए SBI card जो यहाँ पे mention है, it is a joint venture between State Bank of India and Carlyle Group. So consolidated bank statement में दोनों का financial statement होगा, but in standard of financial statement, only State Bank of India का financial होगा, SBI कार्ड का नहीं होगा. Similarly, the other concept is earnings per share. Earnings per share basically means that there are formulas for this. That is net income for non-outstanding shares. EPS testing. Okay, for each outstanding share in the market, what are the earnings? So if EPS is higher, that means the company is more profitable. And if EPS is lower, then the company is less profitable. So ये comparison काम आता है. Basically अगर मैं दो company से comparison करता हूँ, तो A and B, I need to understand कि from which both companies EPS किसका higher है. And the reason is अगर I invest 100 rupees and the EPS is 5 rupees. That means for every 100 invested, I am getting 5 rupees. और अगर B company का EPS है 6 rupees, for every 100 invested, I am getting 6 rupees. So considering this, मुझे profitability इसमें ज़्यादा है B company में, because for every 100, I am getting 6 rupees. That is EPS, earnings per share. This is the formula for this. If you want, I'll share the slides at the end of the presentation. You can all go through the slides. We are going fast since we are approaching the time. Price to earnings ratio, P ratio. Price to earnings ratio is share price upon EPS. So हमने previous EPS में किया calculate. If we place it here, the share price upon EPS, we get the price to earnings ratio. All these ratios are used to understand the fundamental analysis of the company. P ratios का एक दूसरा क्या बोलते हैं? You cannot compare two companies of different sectors. जैसे मैं एक telecom sector पे हूँ, I can compare P ratio of Vodafone Idea and Jio or Airtel, but I cannot compare the P ratio of Vodafone Idea and Indian Oil, BPCL, HPCL, because they are oil companies. Their functioning, their capital invested is different compared to telecom companies. So consider the P ratio जो है, you always compare between two industries in a particular sector, not interchangeably in sectors. P ratio ये भी बताता है कि how much is the earnings compared to the price of the stock market. So if P ratio is higher, then there is high chances that people are ready to pay money. And if P ratio is lower, there are chances that people are not ready to pay money for the stock, required money. Then there is a book value. See, book value is interesting because book value is the price of the stock upon the books. So if SBI real price is 181 is according to the book value, which calculates everything. मतलब assets उनके पास कितने हैं, liabilities कितनी है, all sorts of calculations are done by accounting. और हम एक शेयर की वैल्यू के हिसाब से 180 रुपीस. But आपके पास कितना है 302 रुपीस. So you can see कि although 221 रुपीस है, people are ready to pay 302 रुपीस for SBI stock. So consider this कि ये stock value है. Price to book ratio आपको estimate करने में हेल्प करता है कि क्या stock underpriced है या overpriced है. जो आपको डायमेंशन दिया कि अगर मार्केट प्राइस अभी SBI 302 है यहाँ पे, अगर यहाँ पे 302 है और उनकी बुक वैल्यू 181, that means price to book ratio हो जाएगा 1.66. 1.66 का मतलब ये होगा I am ready to pay a margin of 0.66. मतलब 0.66 times ज़्यादा ready to pay for the SBI stock currently. So if it is higher, it means कि the stock है वो overpriced है. You should not buy a stock which is overpriced. Understand book value is a very fundamental thing. And if it is lower, it is the price to book ratio is low, and it is underpriced. So consider वो stock buy कर सकते हो. तो दूसरा मीनिंग ये भी है कि although book value है, people consider that the stock is not going to perform good and that's why it is underpriced. So you have to analyze these things. Dividend yield is when a company announces dividend. So how much is dividend yield? Define question कितना डिविडेंड ज्यादा अनाउंस किया है. So if a company announces 10 rupee dividend, and if another company announces 12 rupee dividend, the dividend of the second company will be higher. Now coming to the last and the final part, that is the story of how Rashad Mehta executed the scam. That is the scam 1992 in just 2 slides. I guess we will take much more time here since we have gone through the presentation. So, early 90s, RBI required banks to keep certain amount of government. So, जो 90s की बात है, तो RBI had directed banks कि you have to keep certain amount of government bonds as in your portfolio. Bonds are nothing but government securities. Before we move ahead, let me make it clear what are bonds. Bonds are also known as government securities. So certain people will say it as E-CellAdit. E-CellAdit basically means government securities, which are also mentioned here. So what are bonds? कोई भी गवर्नमेंट जब इंडिविजुअल इन्वेस्टर से लोन, तो बेसिकली गवर्नमेंट क्या करती है, तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया व्हाट दे डू इज वो लोग बॉन्ड इशू करते हैं. जैसे गवर्नमेंट ने 1 करोड़ का बॉन्ड इशू किया और एक बॉन्ड की प्राइस है 100 रुपीज. सो 1 करोड़ के 100 रुपीज वाले बॉन्ड्स गवर्नमेंट इशू करेंगे मार्केट में, और मैं एज ए इन्वेस्टर आज इन्वेस्टर उस बॉन्ड को बाय करते हैं. व्हाई? बिकॉज़ व्हाट द सेफेस्ट इंस्ट्रूमेंट इन द मार्केट. प्लस गवर्नमेंट एग्री करती है कि जो ये 1 करोड़ बॉन्ड इशू कर रहा हूं उसके ऊपर मैं पर्टिकुलर इंटरेस्ट दूंगा. ठीक है, तो गवर्नमेंट एग्री करेगा कि मैं आपको उसके ऊपर 5% इंटरेस्ट दूंगा. अगर 5 साल का बॉन्ड है तो जैसे ही 5 साल खत्म हो गए तो गवर्नमेंट आपको 1 करोड़ भी रिटर्न करेगा प्लस उसके ऊपर 5% इंटरेस्ट रिटर्न करेगा. Now generally bonds are very safe. Why? Because central government is involved. Nobody in the market is capable of paying you that the funds as much as the central government, the government of any country is capable. So you have a blind trust over bonds. So bonds are generally important for investment. Although they aren't, it is again a loan you give to a government. Bonds are not secure. Government does not give you anything against the bond. When I सुना है government said okay आप स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया को रख लो and मुझे bonds दे दो, मतलब bond के आगे interest. So वो secured नहीं है, is a loan. Just as you give loan to your friend, your family, it is a type of loan which government of India takes from you, but they are not bonds or government securities. और उनको कूपन वैल्यू होती है. अगर कूपन वैल्यू because government promises you if I am taking 100 rupees from you, I'll give you 5% interest at the end of the 5 years. Okay, so आपको actually हर साल 105 rupees, 5 rupees मिलेंगे for 5 years. So 5 into 5 years is 25 rupees. So at the end of the 5 years, गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड की वैल्यू कितनी हो जाएगी? 125 rupees. आपने बॉन्ड लिया 100 rupees. At the end of the 5 years, because 5% interest मिल रहा है आपको per year, you will get 125 rupees at the end of the 5 years. इसको ऊपर है. तो ऐसा समझो कि बॉन्ड जैसे सेफ है, उसमें कोई रिस्क इन्वॉल्व नहीं है because गवर्नमेंट इज इन्वॉल्व. तो सोवरेनिटी बोलते हैं. जो इन्वॉल्व है, गवर्नमेंट विल नेवर डिफॉल्ट ऑन देयर date. अगर गवर्नमेंट ने बोला they will give you 5 years, they will definitely give you 5 years. But certainly ऐसा भी कभी होता है कि there are governments that fail to deliver. Like in Greece, and this in early 2009 or 2010, they defaulted on their payments. They were not able to give interest on loans. ऐसे टाइम पे bonds की value drastically drops because उसकी कोई value नहीं रहती. These kind of things happen, but in general, bonds are very safe things. Hope you are clear again what bonds are. It's nothing but a way of your government borrowing money from you and making interest. Just like you borrow something from bank, government borrows from you. So in early 90s, एक रूल था कि हर एक बैंक को पर्टिकुलर अमाउंट ऑफ सिक्योरिटीज यानी बॉन्ड्स अपने पास रखने हैं. मतलब उन्हें बात करके अपने पास रखने हैं। अब बड़ी बैंक्स के पास कैश सरप्लस होता है तो वो लोग बॉन्ड्स इजीली खरीद सकते हैं, और जो स्मॉल बैंक होती है जैसे कोऑपरेटिव बैंक हो गई या रीजनल बैंक हो गई, उनकी प्रॉब्लम होती है। सो व्हाट दे वुड डू, वो बड़ी बैंक से बॉन्ड्स बाय करेंगे फॉर रेंट, और उसके सामने उनको एक इंटरेस्ट पे कर देंगे। जैसे आज मेरी रीजनल बैंक है, स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया है, 10 मंथ्स की है, और मैं उनको बोलता हूँ कि तो बॉन्ड की प्राइस नहीं उठती है, मैं आपको नेक्स्ट वीक या नेक्स्ट मंथ 102 रुपीज दे दूंगा एक बॉन्ड के पीछे। तो एसबीआई क्या करती थी, अपनी गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज मुझे लैंड करती थी या रेंट पे देती थी यूज करने के लिए, बिकॉज आरबीआई सम सिक्योरिटी फॉर सर्टेन पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। अब बेसिकली क्या होता है कि डेवलपर्स जो डायरेक्टली स्मॉल बैंक्स को कन्विंस थे इनके अकाउंट में पैसे लेते थे और फिर खुद के अकाउंट से बड़ी बैंक पैसे लेते थे। हर्षद मेहता भी यही एग्जीक्यूट करता है कि वो स्मॉल बैंक्स के अपने पर्सनल अकाउंट में पैसे था और फिर वही पैसे वो बड़ी बैंक्स को देकर उनसे बॉन्ड ले लेता था। अब इसमें कैच क्या है, स्मॉल बैंक्स ने हर्षद मेहता को ऐसे करोड़ रुपए आज दिए। हर्षद मेहता उन्हें कहता था कि वो 7 दिन में उनको बॉन्ड दे देगा। वो 7 दिन के लिए करोड़ रुपए स्मॉल बैंक ने हर्षद मेहता को दिए थे, वो यूज करता था वो स्टॉक मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए, जैसे ही एंड आता था 7 डेज का, तो वो स्टॉक मार्केट में पैसे विड्रॉ जैसे एसबीआई को दे देगा, और एसबीआई उसके बदले में गवर्नमेंट की कौन दे देती थी और वो स्मॉल बैंक को दे देता था। ये नॉर्मल चलता रहा और सब यही एग्जीक्यूट करते रहे, बट उसकी जैसे एसबीआई के पास बहुत सारे अकाउंट्स होते हैं और वो स्मॉल बैंक केस होती है, आइडेंटिफाई 2 बैंक्स बिकॉज़ बैंक ऑफ और मेट्रोपॉलिटन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक वो लोकेटेड इन। अब ये बैंक्स के पास एक्चुअली बॉन्ड्स थे, बट इफ बैंक इशू करती थी बिया बैंक रिसीव जिसको बोलते हैं, तो इट इज इक्विवेलेंट टू अ बॉन्ड। तो अश्वता इन बैंक्स के लोगों के साथ फेक बिया बनाता है। अब बैंक रिसीव में लिखा होता है कि 5 बॉन्ड है, अच्छा मैं एक बैंक से ऐसे ले लेता बॉन्ड, लेकिन उनको फेक बिया कर देता, वो बैंक फेक बिया कर देती है। तो टेक्निकली उन लोगों के पास फिजिकल बॉन्ड्स मिल जाते हैं, बैंक के हिसाब से दिखा एंट्री हो जाती है कि इतने बॉन्ड हमारे पास है। एक्चुअली कोई फिजिकल लिक्विडिटी नहीं होती बॉन्ड्स की, बट इट जस्ट रिसीव बैंक इसके पीएफ पे हमेशा समझ लेते हैं कि बॉन्ड्स एक्चुअली जो फंड्स आते हैं बैंक की तरफ से वो खुद के अपने पास रख लेता और फिर बिया इशू करता है। वो तो फंड उसके पास रहते थे, उसको स्टॉक मार्केट को मैनिपुलेट करता था। फॉर एग्जांपल एसीसी एक्सपेरिमेंट कंपनी, एसीसी की टॉप थी 2 जो हर्षद मेहता ने अपने पैसे इन्वेस्ट करना चालू किया, खाली 3 मंथ एसीसी की प्राइस हो गई 9,000 रुपीज। वो टाइम ऐसा था कि लोगों ने अपने घर अपनी जमीन बेच के इसी पे पैसे 200 रुपए 9,000 रुपीज आना 3 महीने में इज अ वेरी ह्यूज फिनोमेना। मतलब पीपल थिंकिंग दिस इज गोल्ड मनी, इसी में कितना है प्रॉफिट इतना कहीं पे भी। दिस लेड टू पीपल इन्वेस्टिंग ब्लाइंडली इन स्टॉक मार्केट। और this was I don't remember, it is against Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham once said that whenever you getting investing advice barber, तो जब आप खटने जाते हो अगर आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइस तो स्टॉक मार्केट इज ओपन। सो दिस वाज द टाइम व्हेन एवरीबॉडी वाज इन्वेस्टिंग इन दिस, उसका प्राइस कम हो रहा था, देन व्हाट हैपेंड 9,000 redeem करना है तो कर दिया, एचसीसी प्राइस फॉल डाउन। व्हाई? बिकॉज़ इट डिड नॉट सी रियल, अंडरस्टैंड दिस स्टॉक मार्केट takes real value and it eventually boils down to that particular value. If a real value नहीं होगी, it will definitely not sustain that price. इसकी एक famous example आपको मैं दे सकता हूँ, and these are bubbles. stock market bubbles होते हैं, जैसे Bitcoin हो गया. Bitcoin bubble in 2017, 20 people were like blindly buying, thinking इसकी बड़ी level है. Suddenly it lost its value by 130 together. Bitcoin price in India in 2018 was 50 lakh rupees. And within few months, she price 5 lakh rupees. So think of it, okay, won't change for a longer period of time. And I tell you, there are many bubbles in history you can study, which you can analyze. The bubble is one of my favorite concepts. The Bitcoin bubble is very recent, and there was a 2008 housing bubble in US. Housing bubble in US, the Bitcoin bubble, then the tulip mania. First of tulip mania, which is a very old 19th century, 18th century in Netherlands, where the price of tulips skyrocketed. People are thinking tulip had notional value, tulip the flower. Flower price people only buy if they were rich. But tulip की value है. So basically that bubble also busted. 2008 housing bubble busted, and there was 2000 bubble in US. So US seem to in the I am reading about it. They are very interesting. So ACC price Russian में manipulate करता था. There were several other stocks जो Russian में manipulate करता था ऐसे. But later सूर्य प्रसाद ने जो इंडिया पार्टी 1992 में उसके साथ स्कैम ठीक है, क्योंकि अक्षर नेता स्टॉक में बहुत था. So when news came out, okay, there was a scam going on, there was fraud going on, the whole market lost around 100 crores. The investors lost just a single day. It was the magnitude of Shamika. Because this was basically like actual truth that he was also known as the victim of series portfolio very well. He was indeed the stock market, he was indeed known as people. He lost a lot of money himself as well. The investors lost a lot of money. So ultimately, the total scam considering today's inflation. And 70 counts of fraud cases were filed. So this is the story in a nutshell. In 2 seconds, hope you clearly understood what is the whole series. When I started watching the videos, really, explained the concept. As an individual, you can understand the scanning basically. Now come to the end of the webinar. So there are resources that we can to share with you. Help investment, understanding the stock market. We have a few websites, which I will share the description with you. Still, if you want to understand this portfolio or other money, people are the market. If something, there is movement in market. If you want to understand what they are investing, and this website is very good, that is people of India, most of them. Screener.again is for research tools. Again, so you come stocks on the basis of fundamental analysis. Finance.com is a good channel. It is good, and I have learned a lot from this channel. So I always recommend people because in plain Hindi, and you always get on the very basics to very complex things. Negative is again same as the topic. So almost they are both useful for analysis also. In this market is a very good for they provide you reports. Some are paid, some are access to free reports that how you can analyze a company. So market version 3 reports you can view and understand कैसे कोई stock analysis कर सकते हैं, कैसे company के business को identify कर सकते हैं, and if you want to go in detail to learn the vendors patterns and all sort of things, then this capacity by zero is broke, and there are capacity you can access that. They have very very many content. of course, you need to read, and PDFs they are also provided. Go through that if you have time. There are modules, it's a very good explanation. I think is explained well. And then if you have much ample amount of time at your hands, you can always refer to the book with the ET. ET is a magazine that comes on Monday, the Economic Times newspaper. You can always refer to it for good investing content. Like it is, I think, very good newspaper or website that you can for a business use. So there's standard to business and the financial space, which is very common. Coming to the books which are recommended for the beginner, if you are intermediate or if you are old in the stock market. So we want to look at people like stock to right and romancing these are big. So start with this. And once you have the last, you can go for another typical industry, common stocks and uncommon profit like Fisher and meeting skills Peter Lynch again. See, Peter Lynch is a very famous investor and he has a very influence over the US stock market. I see his videos, you get a very insight on how to understand the stocks. Then there is Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham was a teacher of Warren Buffett. He considered him as the guru. Warren Buffett said that if Benjamin Graham would not have been in his life, he would never have been so successful as he is today. Then there is this little correlation, it's very nice. Japanese candlestick techniques. Candlestick actually originated in Japan. So Steve Nison's book on this Japanese candlestick is very famous. If you want to understand the basics of candlestick. And again, security analysis is Benjamin Graham. But these are quite complex of nature. So try understand the basics first, then move ahead. Books. You can contact me on both given numbers, both available on WhatsApp. If you have any question, provide. If not today, in future, if you are reading something, we have to help you out. And if you have any doubts, you can reach me. Another thing is, if you have a long day, you cannot share with me WhatsApp. So, my email ID, I'll be happy to help you anytime. If not able to reply immediately, definitely reply by evening or very next day. But you can expect a reply from me. That is for sure. Also, don't forget to follow feedbacks. I'm putting my Instagram blog link in the description chat box. Try to see content. If you feel that yes, it is good, if it is worth exploring, to join the follow the page. And now we are ready for question Q&A. Was any questions? Okay, so one question. We have actually two questions here. One is by Dara, right? Is Dara present? Dara, you can ask the question directly to me.
हेलो सर।
Yeah.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि अगर हम किसी ऑनलाइन ऐप से अपना डीमेट अकाउंट खुलवाते हैं पर हमें ट्रेडिंग की ज्यादा नॉलेज नहीं है, तो इसीलिए ट्रेडिंग तो करते हैं, पर इसमें कोई रूल्स या रेगुलेशन वैसे होते कि जिससे हम करने के बाद बड़ी पेनल्टी भरनी पड़े या कोई रूल्स तोड़ने के बाद हमें कुछ जुर्माना चुकाना पड़े?
Understood. बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. In fact, when I started invest to deeply question that there are so many laws and as an individual, it's a lot of perform. So if there is any
हेलो सर, सॉरी सर यार वॉइस इज नॉट क्लियर, एको मार रहा है आपका वॉइस.
सर तुम्हारा वॉइस क्लियर नहीं आ रहा है.
clear? Now is it okay?
सर तुम्हारा वॉइस क्लियर नहीं आ रहा है.
And now is it okay?
क्लियर नहीं आ रहा है.
नहीं सर, अभी भी एको ही मार रहा है आपका वॉइस.
अभी भी ऐसा ही है.
अभी Hello.
Yes, you are clearly audible, sir.
Great. So I had the same question again. So which is the very right question around you are. So basically when you open a email account, you are following all the rules जो भी गवर्नमेंट प्रिस्क्राइब किए हुए हैं. So वहाँ से प्रॉब्लम नहीं. बट वन थिंग इज कि आपको टेक कंप्लायंस होना है. कि अगर आपने एक साल कुछ ट्रेड्स बेस किए, जैसे आपने शेयर्स बाय किए थे, तो इफ यू आर सेलिंग टू शेयर्स देयर आर टू you have to pay. One is STG, short-term capital gains tax, and LTC is long-term capital gains tax. Short-term capital gains tax very simple. अगर मैं आज let's आज financial हमारा कैपिटल 2020 और एंड 31st मार्च 2021 अगर मैं 1 अप्रैल को स्टॉक खरीद कैसे लिया मैंने एक शेयर लिया 300 रुपये का, ठीक है, और यही फाइनेंशियल ईयर 31 मार्च 2021 सेल कर दे रहा हूँ 350 मेरा कितना होगा 50 रुपीस. 50 रुपीस का प्रॉफिट है. मैं एक साल पहले ही कैपिटल ले रहा हूँ, तो शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन एसईसीजी 50% का टैक्स होता है. तो यानी जो 50 रुपीज में काम किए उसके ऊपर उनको 15% टैक्स पे करना पड़ेगा. ठीक, ये हो गया एक चीज. तो व्हेनेवर जो इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न भरते हैं यू हैव टू मेंशन कि आपने अपन कैपिटल में क्या क्या अर्न किया है. अगर मैं 1 अप्रैल को 3 रुपीस किया था और मैं उसको सेल करता हूँ 1 अप्रैल 2021 को, इसका मतलब कि मैं फाइनेंशियल में आ गया हूँ. अब जब मैं इसको सेल करूँगा तो मैं इसके ऊपर एसटीसी पे नहीं करूँगा, मैं इसको एलटीसी. एलटीसी का क्या रोल है कि अगर आपका प्रॉफिट 1 लाख तक का है, ऐसा नहीं है 300 रुपये प्राइस है प्रॉफिट 50 रुपये, मैं 50 रुपये कंसीडर करके क्या वो 1 लाख से ज्यादा है, अगर नहीं है तो मैं उसके ऊपर टैक्स पे नहीं होगा. अगर 1 लाख से ज्यादा है तो मैं उसके ऊपर 10% अल्टीमेटली आपका इनकम कैपिटल गेन्स एक अगेन ये फिर से रीप्रेजेंट करके प्रॉफिट बात करते टोटल वैल्यू बात नहीं करते. इसलिए अगर 1 लाख पे शेयर खरीद लेकिन प्रॉफिट 2000 रुपये हुआ तो टोटल मेरे पास वापस कितने 1 लाख 2 रुपये. ये तो 1 लाख से ऊपर नहीं होगा क्योंकि मेरा प्रॉफिट 1000 टोटल ट्रेड वैल्यू की बात नहीं होती है. एलटीसी में खाली प्रॉफिट की बात होती है. तो मेरा खाली 2000 है जो कि 1 लाख है, तो इसके ऊपर मैं भी टैक्स पे नहीं करूंगा. लेकिन जब इनकम टैक्स रेट मुझे मेंशन जरूर करना है आईटी में कि मैंने ये स्टॉक्स खरीदे थे ये और आपको आपका सीए. अदर देन दिस ऐसा रेगुलेशन नहीं है कि जिसका करनी पड़े. हाँ, इफ यू आर डूइंग which I don't think so anybody of you will be doing, so then you have penalty if SEBI prosecutes you. For an investor or more investors because there is no such liabilities around, so you can feel free to invest. Okay. Now question clear? Still in doubt?
I think there are no questions.
Okay.
It was so informative and incredible session, sir. I would like to thank Mr. Nishipal Rana for such an amazing session, and I'm sure that after today, many of you would try investing in the stock market.
Thank you.